Good morning, everyone. I'm Darrell Steinberg. I am the mayor of Sacramento, and I would also say I'm a proud congregant of Congregation B'nai Israel, where we join here today. I want to thank Rabbi Alfie for hosting us, and I especially want to thank our Attorney General, Rob Bonta, who is leading the charge statewide to combat the increase in hate and hate crimes here in California. The choice of B'nai Israel for this forum with community leadership, who I want to thank as well, because they're the ones doing the hard work every day, was intentional. Because it was 22 years ago this summer when two white supremacists from the foothills came down and firebombed this synagogue. And we rebuilt this beautiful synagogue. And yet it is searing and painful memory. And as Rabbi Alfie stated in our forum a little while ago, these white supremacists did not just firebomb the synagogue. They also murdered a gay couple. And they firebombed other synagogues and the NAACP. And she made the point, and I will make the point, that haters don't just hate one of us, they hate all of us. And in 2021 now, many years later, the political environment, the fragility of our society, hate is increasing and hate crimes are increasing, not just in Sacramento, but in California. So we gathered together today under the auspices of the Attorney General's leadership to say, we are going to employ every community strategy, every law enforcement strategy that we can to turn this tide and to say we will never, ever accept people treating each other badly. Certainly, we will never accept or tolerate people committing crimes based on who people are, not in Sacramento, not in California. Attorney General Rob Bonta.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Steinberg, for your remarks, for your partnership, for your leadership on this issue and so many issues. I'm just really thankful to be here today with you and with all of the community leaders behind us and right here in Congregation B'nai Israel. Again, a meaningful place full of and packed with significance as we talk about pushing back against the forces of hate. A place, again, as mentioned 22 years ago, attacked, fueled by hate, but also a congregation that rose up, that persisted, that was resilient, that rebuilt and pushed on in the faces of hate. And it's that spirit of unity, of solidarity, of overcoming the forces of hate that brings us together today, and very appreciative of the opportunity to have a discussion with our community leaders about the work that they're doing right here in Sacramento to fight back against the forces of hate. And this is my third gathering of this type, third of 13. We've had 2 in the Bay Area, and each time I sit down with leaders to talk about the challenges ahead, the progress that we have made, and the work that still needs to be done. I'm always inspired. I'm always thankful for the input. I always come back with more ideas for how to move forward, how to be a better partner, and how to help lead in this in this space. And you know what we heard inside were a lot of stories that were often personal, often painful, and all were powerful. And I think it speaks to the fact that for those, for me, for those behind me, this work is not simply academic, it's personal. These are experiences that many of us have faced ourselves. We've faced and felt the sting of hate personally, and so have those that we love and that we care about. So this is personal work, and it was powerful work, what we heard inside. And, you know, we right now, there's no other way to say it, we are in a full-on state of crisis, state of emergency when it comes to hate in the state of California. As progressive and inclusive as California is, we are still not immune to the forces of hate, and we must recognize that fact. We must address that. We must be intentional in our steps. And, we have people in our families, people that are close to us that fear doing the everyday things, the everyday activities of daily living, going for a walk, going to the store, taking our kids to school, and are often left wondering, could I be next? Will I be the next to be targeted? And that's unacceptable. We cannot have that. We've seen the data and the stats that back up what we know anecdotally to be true, that hate incidents and hate crimes are on the rise. We issued a report in the California Department of Justice showing just that over from 2019 to 2020, statewide, about a 30% increase in hate incidents. Here in Sacramento, even a little more intense, over 50% increase. And so we know what the problems are, and we know we have our work cut out, and today we talked about solutions. And many incredible contributions to solutions from the leaders that I'm standing with today. Important contributions around increasing education, having better reporting, lifting up our community leaders in response, working more closely with law enforcement as appropriate to take on hate crimes. And the Department of Justice is leading as well. We started our Racial Justice Bureau to take on the forces of hate as one of our top priorities. From day one, we were issuing reports and guidance to our law enforcement partners to make sure that they are investigating hate crimes as such when appropriate, and prosecuting them as such when appropriate. We have launched our Community Awareness Response and Engagement Group, our CARE group, to be out in and with and for communities, co-creating solutions to push back against the forces of hate. So we're making progress. But the challenge is still stark. And, I want to say, as the California Attorney General with the full weight of the law and the state constitution behind me, that in California, there is no room for hate. Not here, not anywhere, not now, not ever. And we're going to keep pushing and keep fighting against the forces of hate together. And it's that spirit of unity that brings us together. I do want to end with this, that it's so important for me to make sure that every community is seen, is valued, and is protected. And in order to make that a reality, it's going to take all of us working together. In this moment, and as with so many moments over the past couple years, I'm reminded of that beautiful Martin Luther King Jr. statement about our inescapable network of mutuality, our single garment of destiny, the fact that we need each other. We are all in this together. We will rise together or not at all. There's no us and them. There's only us. And this moment requires all of us, unified across our differences, embracing our beautiful diversity to rise up and fight back against the forces of hate. So, again, I appreciate the opportunity to be here in Sacramento. I thank the powerful leaders that I'm standing with today for the work that they do every day. I pledge to be the best partner I can to make our communities safe and to fight back against the forces of hate. And with that, I'd like to call up Rabbi Mona Alfi from Congregation B'nai Israel. Thank you.
Good morning. I want to first to say thank you so much to Attorney General Bonta, as well as to Mayor Steinberg. I think I speak for all of us about being very heartened by the seriousness in which both of you are taking the issue of hate crimes. All of us this morning, I think, are very well aware of the intersectionality of hate, that when one of us is targeted, it is really our entire community that is the real target to that hate, and that it is critical that we work together, not just when there is a hate crime, but really to work together in prevention of hate crimes. As was said this morning, once the crime occurs, we've already failed. And that key to preventing hate crimes, or to prevent hate incidents turning into a crime, is education. And that we have a responsibility in our schools and our government agencies, as well as with each other, to be able to better educate each other about the beautiful plurality of the state and the city that we live in, to be able to not merely be tolerant, but to be really understanding and to truly be neighbors with one another. And I think the meeting this morning is just one of many steps that our community will be taking to ensure that we prevent the occurrence of hate crimes, not just respond to them. Now it's my pleasure to be able to invite up a friend and ally, Bassem El-Khara, the Executive Director of the Council on American Islamic Relations of the Sacramento Central Valley, to speak.
Good morning. I want to thank AG Bonta, Mayor Steinberg, and B'nai Israel, and Rabbi Mona Alfie for hosting us today. Sacramento is a community that anytime there's an incident, anytime there's a hate crime, we come together. We came together for Satinder Singh when he was murdered. We came together after Atwal and Singh were murdered in Elgrove, after the synagogue bombings, after the mosque vandalisms, and we'll continue coming together. And we're sending a message today that political rhetoric has an impact on our communities. When you call a community rapist, when you ban a community, when you tell folks, rough them up like the good old days, when you call it a China virus, we saw a spike against all of our communities, record number of hate incidents and hate crimes around the nation and here in California. And we responded as a community. We came together. We looked for other solutions. And it's about education. It's about education. It's about ethnic studies and supporting ethnic studies in our schools. So when our kids get older, they love one another and respect one another. And right now, unfortunately, we're seeing a rise in bullying, and our young folks are affected. And we've come together to address that issue and to make a difference there. We address many solutions and many challenges, but coming together as a community, and we tell the folks out there that are considering hating a community, hating one of us out here, that engage us. I feel there's so many hate calls over the years, and I've engaged individuals. I said, we'll meet you, we'll talk with you. When you get to know one another, you'll see there's many things in common. Folks out there are afraid, but when you engage and educate, that's how we can make a difference. And I look forward working with the AG's office and everyone here today, that we're sending a message today that anytime you do a hate insult, you're just uniting us more and more. And we're being proactive today more than ever. And we thank the AG for all these initiatives. Thank you.